First video we're watching today is by Stoopzz. I don't know how many of you guys know about Stoopzz. I never really watched too much of his content. I was exposed to Stoopzz by watching Asmongold stuff, as probably a lot of people were, I would assume. But Stoopzz is a World of Warcraft PvPer, and very much like a lot of other World of Warcraft players, he is moving on. After 15 years, goodbye World of Warcraft. And it's like, it's interesting that this happened when it did, because just recently I was actually watching a Stoopzz video about how World of Warcraft is pay to win. And a lot of people are under the assumption that World of Warcraft is not pay to win. And Stoopzz was explaining to people, like, this is why. Like, look, you can buy this WoW token, and with it you can buy literally anything in the fucking game. Literally anything. So, you know, he was making a video talking about that, and I watched it. And then shortly after that, he released this other video, after 15 years, goodbye World of Warcraft, and I haven't watched it yet. And let's see what is happening.
Dude, how did we get here? When I started this YouTube channel, I had so much love for WoW PvP. And I know a lot of people say WoW is a PvE game, Omega lol. And yes, I know WoW is a PvE game nowadays, but to me, it was always just so much more than that. The first time I logged on WoW, I was around 12 years old and my parents had recently split up. We didn't have a lot of money, so we moved into my aunt's house, and all I wanted to do was play games with my friends back home. My friends Ricky and Brandon told me about a game called World of Warcraft, and I begged my mom for about a week straight for the $15 so I could pay that monthly subscription. After a ton of convincing, my mom finally decided to give me the money to play the game.
So this is going to be even more emotional for him, because basically World of Warcraft must have been kind of like a coping mechanism, because his parents went through a divorce. And, you know, when you think about it, the offspring is always the one that feels the divorce the hardest, I feel like. And, you know, he was just playing World of Warcraft with his friends. That means that it's going to have made quite an impression on him. Now, I don't have anything like that, because I was never able to actually convince my parents to pay a sub fee for me. When I tried to, they're just like, yeah, right. You want what now? You want money every month to play a video game? Yeah, right. You're going to get 15 slaps in the face faster than you're going to get $15. Crazy. But it was still special for me when I finally got a job and started playing World of Warcraft. I really, really enjoyed it. And that's why, you know, and obviously I played it with friends as well. But that's why I talk about this stuff so much. When I got into the game, the only thing my friends wanted to do was duels, low-level battlegrounds, and world PvP. None of that boring, lame Dragon Slayer Joe shit that everyone likes today. Durotar was packed, world PvP was alive, and everyone was dueling and ganking each other to make a name for themselves on the server. In fact, there used to be these two losers, these Night Elf losers, that would gank me 24/7 named Starsky and Hutch. Regardless, it was still probably some of the best times of my life. Starsky and Hutch.
However, as I got older and right as I was leaving for college, my dad ended up passing away, and my mom at the same time had to go in for this crazy heart procedure to get a valve transplant. And all of that news just sent me down this really weird path. I started using a bunch of substances and I stopped playing World of Warcraft. And this whole thing went on for a couple of years until I got in a really bad accident with one of my friends and my mom had to go in for another procedure. I realized at that moment that if I want to be there for my mom, I'm going to have to clean up my act. And in order to do that, the only thing I knew how to do was just play World of Warcraft. So I picked back up the game, and then I realized all of my friends had quit. The game felt extremely different. I had a really difficult time finding people to play with, and everyone just seemed so interested in PvE. And because of this, I was so frustrated that I decided to make a YouTube channel to try to promote PvP and get people excited about PvP so other players would try it. And through that frustration, everything started to turn out all right. I finished my degree in family therapy, I got sober, I made a bunch of new friends, I created this YouTube channel, and then BFA hit, and I noticed a huge shift in how the game was designed. It started to feel impossible to maintain an ult, there was a ton of barriers to entry that were created, and the actual gameplay began to suffer. My time spent playing the game was filled with chores rather than barriers to entry.
I want to stream and play WoW, but I actually feel so confused on what I want to do. It seriously feels like I have more chores to do than actually playing the game. I legit feel paralyzed by the thought of trying to do it all. I have a huge mental block right now that I can't get past. Yeah, it's not surprising because that is what the game essentially has become. And if you are at all a player that has any completionist bones in you, you're crazy. Like, you either become like Asmongold and Fuchsia, where it's like all they do in the game is trying to get all of the completion things, or it's I don't know.
Entry that were created,
Hey,
and the actual gameplay began to suffer. My time spent playing the game was filled with chores rather than doing the actual things that I enjoy, the reason I was paying $15 a month in the first place. And it was at this moment that there was a shift in my YouTube and Twitch content. Rather than focusing on promoting PvP, I spent my time creating videos aimed at generating awareness on the issues that I believed were plaguing the game. You know, over time I'd read some comments from viewers telling me to vote with my wallet instead of trying to make videos advocating for change, saying that voting with my wallet was the only way that Blizzard would listen. And to be honest, they were probably right. But the game had meant way more to me than just that monthly subscription. It represented a huge change in my life, so I still held out hope. I hear people talk about the idea that WoW is doomed, it's impossible to fix, and that the good times are simply a thing of the past. And to be honest, I really can't stand when people say that because in my opinion, fixing World of Warcraft, at least the daily gameplay, is rather simple. When you look at the gameplay model of a typical MMO, you'll find that they often feature several progression paths. Most players have come to expect your initial leveling and class progression, followed by your overall gear progression. This will then lead you into the end game progression, which consists of high-end PvE or PvP content. And although gear is a reward through these end game progression paths, you are also working towards various accomplishments and achievements demonstrating that you've improved over time. Unfortunately, Blizzard decided to add even more progression paths to the game to satisfy some type of metric or perhaps to revive this missing RPG element of the game. And this was the birth of very
light sleepers of the world.
What the fuck? I thought he was holding up a pair of underwear. I was like, why is this man showing me these boxer shorts? Dude, this is some fucked up. What is going on? But anyway, I'll take that ad break to say that it's like the whole thing about him basically being stuck doing these chores. It kind of now, it due to the fact that World of Warcraft to me was never, I don't think it was ever anything that I used to like cope with problems in life. It was just like I really liked playing it, and I had friends that were playing it, and I would play with my friends. These were people that I met online. It's not like people that lived near me or anything. Like, is actually in real life the only person that I know that ever played World of Warcraft with. No, actually, there's two people. It was my wife and Nox Tom. I did play World of Warcraft with Nox Tom for a little bit. And it's like, I guess due to the fact that I never had that coping thing that that World of Warcraft filled for me. World of Warcraft was just, you know, something that I played to have fun. You know, when the going got to the point where, you know, this is just a chore. This is boring the crap out of me. I just stopped playing. But I guess now I understand why so many players, I can't look at this image anymore. Jesus Christ. Now I understand why so many players actually kept on playing, because for them, the game is even more special than it was for me, because it helped them deal with rough times in their life, probably, I would assume.
Element of the game, and this was the birth of various borrowed power systems and weekly chores. And you hear players complain about these weekly chores, but they are a result of the added progression systems, your Heart of Azeroth, your Legendary Cloak, your Renown and Covenant campaigns, etc. It's these added progression systems in which your character's overall power level is locked behind. This means that your endgame experience is now clouded behind your Covenant progression, into your campaign progression, into your Renown progression, into your Soulbind progression, into your Conduit progression. And this exact same chain exists for other mandatory systems in the game and has bled over from previous expansions, despite players stating they dislike the fact that player power is locked behind these additional progression paths. Now, if we could kind of just control alt delete all of these
Dude, I swear it was the drawers guy again.
additional systems and focus more on what the players actually enjoy, the game, in my opinion, would be so much better. More dungeons, more raids, more class changes, more battlegrounds, more cosmetics, customization, and regular.
And here's the thing. I would argue that the game would actually make more money if they fixed it. Because like we all know right now, the reason why they do these things is because the company believes that is what will make them more money. I disagree. I think that if you make a good game, you'd make more money, you'd have a better image, you'd have better word of mouth, although at this point, I don't think you're ever going to get word of mouth again. But like, I think actually fixing the game would be the right thing to do. I mean, not just the right thing to do, but also the more profitable thing to do. But the problem here is, like I've told you guys, the problem here is there's no such thing as a long-term plan for any of this. Literally everybody is living quarter to quarter because that is the corporate culture, not even just in gaming, just like the corporate culture, period, of any job nowadays. Everybody lives quarter to quarter. This is why you see so many decisions being made that you're like, dude, but in the long term, this is going to be a terrible decision. And literally anyone can look at a lot of these decisions that I'm talking about. Again, this is not just in gaming. This is in general. Even like policies in countries and politics and whatnot, like you can tell, you look at that and you're like, oh my God, in long term, this is going to be atrocious. And it doesn't take a rocket science to see that in long term, a lot of the decisions that are happening all over the world are terrible. In the long term, so many decisions that are being made right now are going to just be incredibly negative. But if you think about it from a quarter perspective, on a per quarter basis, it's amazing. Because like, oh man, this is really going to suck. Like 2 years down the line, this is going to fucking suck. But for this quarter, dude, fuck yeah. Woo! We're going to make some bucks, man. We're going to make bank. We're going to get that bag. Isn't that what everybody likes to say in the content creator sphere? We're going to get that bag. It's all about getting the bag. It's like, hey, get your fucking bag of worthless fucking paper that's not even backed by legal tender anymore. Yeah, go get your fucking bag and fucking choke on it. Like, what the fuck? It's going to be great. But that's the thing, because like employees at Blizzard, it's not like they have maybe a 2-year contract or anything like that. Like most contracts nowadays are like based around months. Like even me, when I was working for Broadband TV, my contract was a monthly contract. It was an automatically renewable monthly contract. There's like contracts now, there's no job security for anyone, and everybody is being evaluated and paid based on performance. So therefore, what is the logical conclusion? Everything works on a per quarter basis. And the better you can make that quarter look, awesome. Because you might not be there next quarter. That is the entire basis of like 80% to 90% of the problems throughout the world right now is because not a single person out there is not exactly not a single person, but most people out there, they're out for themselves and they're thinking on a per quarter basis. They're not thinking on a long-term basis. And that's why. World of Warcraft is right.
Released content, which includes all of the previous things mentioned, that would be an expansion I would want to play. I want a deep focus on classes, not on conduits, soulbinds, and legendaries that will disappear after 2 years. Not something that you slap on the cover of a box in hopes to honey dick the random guy who watched a Twitch ad, which by the way, you guys should check out my Twitch stream of course, and subscribe to my channel. It's free. You just reach over and click with the little mouse and it would absolutely make my day. But with that, 80% of my time playing World of Warcraft is spent doing things that I don't enjoy just so I can spend 20% of my time doing the things that I actually enjoy.
You guys remember my biggest complaint? You guys remember when I talked about Shadowlands? What was my biggest complaint? It was exactly this. It was exactly this. It's like 20 hours of chores so that I can actually enjoy the 2 or 3 hours of things that I want to do in the fucking game.
And that's wrong. I don't care if it's an MMO, video games are supposed to be fun, and I'm supposed to want to log in and play every day, not dread the thought of my time playing the game. And for me, it doesn't end there. When I watch the Arena Championships, I'm embarrassed of the actual gameplay. The game is riddled with ridiculous cooldowns and multipliers, as well as various passives that are responsible for these long drawn out dampener games and the random one-shots that obliterate you from 80% health.
Ouais. Je pourrais faire.
And these issues
What the fuck? That guy was fucking mad. That guy's pretty fucking mad. Shit. I want to see that again. You could see the keys flying. Like, look, wait, look at that. Look at it.
And these issues rarely get addressed because
the fucking keys flying, dude. That's like the best part. Wait. Look, there's a key right there. Another key right there. And it still keeps flying. The camera flipped. Like, what the fuck?
And these issues rarely get addressed because they're so focused on balancing all of these systems and borrowed power systems that eventually get removed. And all of this has led me to one question. The reason I started making YouTube videos in the first place. If a new player comes into my stream and asks me, Stoopzz, should I get into WoW PvP? My answer would have to be no.
Dude, I can say no. And here's the thing, though. I can say no like 10 fucking years ago. Because the balancing of PvP was already atrocious 10 fucking years ago. So I can answer that question 10 years ago before shit really got bad. It's just way worse now. But it was bad 10 years ago. More than 10 years ago. It was bad in Burning Crusade. It's been bad since forever. Because I still remember this because I used to actually go on the World of Warcraft forums and, you know, like post and shit and talk about stuff in the World of Warcraft forums. And I remember an expression that someone said there once that I never forgot. I never forgot about it. And I think it was actually a reply to one of my posts. But basically, I don't know, I was complaining about something and someone just says, listen, dude, this happens because the way Blizzard balances a game is they'll drop a piano on one side of a scale and an anvil on the other side. And they just hope that shit evens out. And I'm just like, what the fuck, dude?
The barrier to entry is way too high. The LFG system is horrible at finding potential partners, and the actual gameplay is nowhere near where it can be or should be. How can I make videos about a game that I wouldn't recommend myself? It feels wrong, disingenuous, and for me, that is the saddest part. From where I came from and how I started to where we are today. I tried my absolute best to push for changes that I thought players would appreciate, but you know what? Maybe
look at the price on this legendary. Look at the price on this legendary. You remember when I talked about legendaries and I was like, oh man, this is great that people have to recraft their legendaries. This is brilliant design. And people are like, it's not a problem. It's not a problem, dude. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just like, yeah, this looks fine. You know how much money I have in World of Warcraft or had before I, last time I logged in? I had like 300,000 gold. And probably like 150,000 of those was Q gave it to me so that I could actually buy shit. So that I wouldn't have to like scrape by. Because I can't farm gold. The way that I used to have gold is because my wife was really good at fucking around with the auction house. I've never been good at getting gold in video games. Never. It was always my wife. But it's like, this is ridiculous. This is fucking ridiculous. And the reason that these prices are so fucking inflated is because Blizzard just fucking sells WoW tokens. And the whales are just sitting there fucking swiping their credit cards, becoming big, fat, juicy whales. And this is what you get. This is what you fucking get in the economy of your video game. Good fucking job.
Blizzard isn't designing the game for players like me anymore. Maybe I'm not their target audience, and that's fine.
You're not.
I think World of Warcraft definitely still has a future. In fact, the other day I saw a job opening being posted for a PvP designer working on World of Warcraft, and a year ago that would have been my dream job. But over time, I've realized that I enjoy much more working with you guys and the community. There's new administration in charge, and in fact, the co-president was in my stream the other day. Seems like a great guy, he's interacting with the community, so again, I think World of Warcraft has a future. But for now, I'm not sure I'll be a part of it. And I know some of you out there look forward to WoW content, so I'll still post broad news related videos here and there. But until Blizzard does right by correcting all of the issues that are going on within their workplace and begins making fundamental gameplay changes, I will not consider returning. I want to be on the journey of finding the next MMO or game that will inspire me to make videos. Perhaps it's New World or Final Fantasy, albeit the PvP doesn't look great in those games, I'm still willing to give them a try. Currently, I'm most excited about...
Dude, it's like, what do you mean the PvP doesn't look great in these games? When does PvP look great in World of Warcraft? That's some serious bias. Come on.
Lost Ark. It's a game that I've been playing for several weeks now, and the arena and PvP experience has probably been the most fun I've had in years. There's no insane grind to PvP, everything is equalized, and the combat feels like a game should feel in 2021. It's something that I'm excited to try out, but who knows? Maybe I'll make videos on other games that I think you will all enjoy.
I want to try Lost Ark as well.
But I know there are many players like me that are looking for a game to satisfy that MMO PvP itch, and I want to help them find that. And if it turns out that game doesn't exist, well then, at least I can say I tried. I really want to thank everyone so much who has supported me up until this point. I make videos because I enjoy interacting with you guys. I know a YouTube channel pivot like this at my size can be pretty detrimental, and I'm taking a leap here. I know some of you may not be interested in supporting me in reviewing upcoming projects, but I really think I can do a great job at that. So at this point, I simply have two options. I can either continue making WoW videos in hopes to relive memories of the past, or I can follow my heart in creating new ones.
World of Warcraft was my best friend. Maybe
Swifty.
someday we'll meet again.
I used to watch so many Swifty videos. Freaking Bajira, look Bajira before he was ripped the hell and back.
Right now, this
Do you have Athene in here as well? Is this soda?
treat us better, 'cause we deserve it. Dirt is being thrown from up under the surface, 'cause Blizzard ain't what it seemed.
Changes.
Employees
Oh, too many
should be
chances. No, actually, that's right. Never mind.
equally. This ain't a damn fraternity. Now your suit sounds like a GG. World of
No Athene, really? I was
Warcraft
expecting an Athene in there.
was my best friend.
Feels bad. It's interesting because I thought that it was gonna, the video was gonna be more about the PvP side of things, and that I wasn't gonna be able to relate as much. But it seems that even on the PvP, because I've never been too much into PvP, like you guys know. The one time that I did the most PvP was Burning Crusade, because I couldn't get a goddamn shield to drop for me. And it's like, and here's the thing. Like, I would do all the heroics like every day. I don't think there were like good shields on heroics even. It was really bad. Like, I had like a blue crafted shield for the longest time. And then we would raid every single week, do all of the raids, and shields simply would not drop. You guys can ask Q whenever if he's around. I don't know if he's AFK or whatever, but like Q, Queer and L, like, you guys can ask him because he was the raid leader. I'd be in there. We'd be raiding every single week. No shield drop. No shield drop. So I just go and I tell my wife, was my girlfriend at the time, listen, I'm going to need you to come with me into the arena. And we don't even have to win that much. We just have to win a couple of times so that I can get a goddamn shield. I just need to get one shield. One lousy shield, please. And it wasn't even a good shield. It was like the PvP shield. But yeah, that was my shield. For the longest time, I was running around with the epic PvP shield because there was no shield drops for me ever. It was crazy. Until eventually I got one. What was it? It was in that raid that had Jaina in it and some Burning Legion dude. Was it Mount Hyjal? Was that a thing? That was a raid, right? Then it became a zone, but before it was a zone, it was a raid. Mount Hyjal used to be a raid, right? Yeah, it was Hyjal. Yeah, exactly. And eventually, one of the bosses in that place dropped the shield for me. And like, I remember that it wasn't even rolled. Like, it wasn't even rolled. There wasn't even, Q was just like, give that to him. Give him the fucking shield. You put the shield on him right now. Oh, it was good stuff. But yeah, it's like I was thinking that, you know, the PvP thing was not going to be as relatable to me, but it looks like even on the PvP side of things, the game is just a massive friggin' chore. It's all it is. It's a chore, which is sad. It's friggin' sad.